Hey everyone, and welcome to the review video on these new Axial SCX24 Ford Broncos. I've been driving around most of the weekend here to kind of drive around the house, just kind of experimenting with them. And wow, these things are a lot of fun. In fact, I would say these things are a lot more fun than I ever expected. After all, they basically go at walking speed. And if you would have told me that some of the most fun I've had with an RC vehicle is actually going to be with something that is this size and goes at walking speed, I would have laughed you out of here. But no, honestly, these things are absolutely so much fun. So there's a few things I wanted to kind of touch on based on my observations, and then stay tuned to at the end of the video. I'm going to have kind of a collection of some of the footage that I shot of the vehicles kind of around the house, and just kind of experimenting with different environments to operate this in. So first of all, my first impressions are the detail on these is absolutely incredible. The paint quality on the red one here is absolutely insane. Like the finish on here it's like a red tinted mirror. It is so crystal clear in the reflection and the paint quality on the red one. The blue one isn't nearly as shiny as the red one for some reason, but man, the red, not only does I think the red looks really awesome, the paint quality on the red one is just, it's mind-blowing for a car like this. I mean, if I could paint model cars this well, I would be a hero. So that's what I noticed about the red, difference between kind of the red and the blue one. And I don't know if all the blue ones and red ones are like this, but the finish on this red one is just insane. Overall, driving them around, I'm very impressed with kind of their low speed performance. I mean, they're not high speed vehicles at all, but it has no trouble kind of navigating really anything that I wanted to navigate around the house. And it really changes the your whole environment that you look at just in your house. You don't have to go to a specialized rock crawling course. You don't have to build a course. You'd be surprised what you find just around the house that you can go out and take these things in. The headlights work fantastic, by the way. The fog lamps are always on, but if you want to turn the headlights on and off, there is the 3-channel switch here, and you can turn them to a full blank mode here. You can go full on, or you can go full off, and that is this little 3-channel button here on the side. So otherwise, the controller is very easy to use, very comfortable. The only bad thing is that you can't really reach the steering control, at least with my small hands. You can't operate this one-handed. You do need two hands, which is normally not a problem unless you're trying to film the Bronco and drive it at the same time. So you need two hands free. But otherwise, it's perfectly fine to drive this. You know, the pistol grip is comfortable. You got forward, you got reverse, you got steering. This pops open here where your trims and everything are at, and of course your on-off switch, as well as your power meters there as well. You got red LED, car battery LED if everything is bound and ready to go. So nothing really big there, but yeah, very comfortable controller, easy to use, no problems at all. But it would be nice if you could operate it with one hand if you're going to be doing any filming or picture taking. Something else I didn't really cover that well in the unboxing video is the decal sheet. This thing is very cool because after I got it out, I realized that not only does it include the Ford Wildtrak optional decals to it, you also get all the decals for all the different trim level Broncos. So in here you have the Badlands edition, you have the Outer Banks, you know, I think it's a Black Diamond is the other one. You got a number of them all inside here, so you can customize to whatever trim level Bronco you want, as well as a bunch of little miniature axial decals as well that you can put anywhere on the vehicle. So let's talk about actually navigating the thing around the yard. So my first experience has been just in the house. I've driven it inside, kind of chased the cats around with it, and then I've taken it outside and see what this thing can really do. And that's really where it shines. Yeah, it's fun inside. You can build yourself little obstacle courses. In fact, I went over, my nephew built a little miniature Jurassic Park set out of Legos, and we went over and put the Broncos through its paces during his Lego sets. So A lot of fun moving through that. So if you have a lot of Legos or you got kids that have Legos, stuff like that, you could build yourself an obstacle course inside and drive it around. And this thing has no trouble at all, just, you know, climbing over Legos and everything. So you can have a lot of fun building your course inside. You could also build it just out of about anything you have around the house, and this little guy will do it. But like I said, outside is where it's really fun. And I really just kind of focused on driving it around the house. I drove it down to my beach, put it next to the water, drove it around in the sand. In fact, even flew my UMX timber while I had the Bronco out, and would land the timber, taxi right up here to the Bronco, then jump in the Bronco and bomb around the beach and drive through the grass with it. And during the daytime, it's a lot of fun. You can navigate through garden areas. You can do rock climbing if you got landscaping rocks, you got mulch, you got things like that. You can most certainly climb around, drive around little plants and flowers and hostas and stuff, drive through the grass. It's pretty cool in the daytime. It's at night that I think it is even more fun, using nothing more than just the headlights to navigate. The whole world that you operate this in changes at night. And to navigate all through like the garden areas around my house, through the grass, driving it around hostas, going underneath things, going between bushes, using nothing more than the headlights there to navigate was a lot of fun. In fact, I would say that if I had to pick between driving this in the daylight or driving this at night with just headlights, I would pick the nighttime. I think it is even more fun at night to drive this little guy than it is during the day, because it changes everything. Like, you just are looking at the vehicle's headlights to illuminate the world in front of you and trying to navigate around rocks and hostas and flowers and things like that. And it's a lot of fun. In fact, I would say that if I'm going to get a larger crawler, I think lights now become more of a high priority item to have on that list. So if I get like a base camp, to put a light bar on it would be something I definitely want to do. Or if I move up to any of the other SCX10-3s that, like the early Bronco that's got the lights already installed. Because doing this at night is a lot of fun, and especially in the summer when it's beautiful, warm outside, and you know, you could have a bonfire and then drive this thing around afterwards. It's really a lot of fun. It opens up a whole new world operating this thing at night. Let's talk about battery consumption. So this little battery here, it's a 350 milliamp per hour 2S, and I bought two of these because I thought, well, I'm used to the old surface vehicles with my nickel metal hydride batteries, and well, I figure I probably would get about, I don't know, 5-10 minutes of runtime, and then my battery would be dead, and I'd be not having fun anymore until I wait for it to charge up. That's not the case with these little guys. Not the case at all. In fact, you know, think about this. This gigantic nickel metal hydride pack would get me just a few minutes of runtime in an old touring car. This little battery here, 350 milliamp, gets me, I calculate it at 1 hour, gets me to 30% capacity, which is right about where you want to be at for voltage. That is crazy. 1 hour runtime continuous, like lights on, 1 hour, just driving this thing all around the yard, bombing around the grass, climbing over rocks, doing all sorts of stuff. 1 hour out of these. So that means I got two batteries. So I got 2 hours of runtime out of these. I mean, that's, for me, that's like unheard of, because my airplanes don't fly for very long. And I'm so used to my old touring cup cars and stadium trucks that realistically you'd probably get 5 to 7 minutes of runtime. And you know, half of that is barely enough power to like kind of come back to you. Where here, 1 hour of runtime with these is just unbelievable. So super impressed with the battery capacity, the battery life, and that really gives you plenty of time to just bomb around the house and drive around and see what you could do with these things. You could take this thing anywhere. With an hour runtime, the world is, you know, kind of your oyster for what you want to do with this thing. But yeah, to come back, kind of come full circle on this thing, I'm totally shocked by how much fun these little crawlers can be. Being more of a touring cup guy, I like my stadium truck, but had a lot of the touring cars all dressed up as rally cars and race cars, and going fast was really kind of my thing with the cars. And this is a totally different experience. It is all about going slow. It's all about going around having great control. It's about throttle management. I mean, you got to be just right on it in terms of how much throttle you use in order to climb stuff. You cannot use the throttle like an on-off switch. you really got to focus on how much throttle gets you what type of results in the vehicle. And if you're doing any type of climbing around landscaping rocks and stuff like that, you really got to go nice and slow and move the vehicle around and pay attention to your steering angle as well. If the wheels are turned wrong, you're going to easily roll this thing over and tip it. So you really got to be paying attention to what you're doing. And it's a whole new dynamic in the RC hobby for me. And it's one that I'm finding to be far more enjoyable than I ever imagined. I have not used the little traction plates up here, whatever you call them here. I'm not even sure. I'm like I said, I'm totally new to this, so it's like I get some of the terminology wrong. But these little traction pieces up here that you can put underneath if you gotta gain traction in loose material like sand, or you need to crawl over a little ravine, you take these off. I've not had a chance to use those yet, mostly because I haven't found a need to do it. I'm sure I'll build a little course someday that will force me to use it, but right now I'm kind of focusing on driving these with the least amount of interaction as possible for me. Like navigate the course and keep it upright and not knock it over. Climb over rocks, climb over the sand, over the grass, around the beach, and just have fun with it without having me to interact with it. And it's a lot more fun than I expected. So if you're on the fence over whether or not this is a hobby you want to try to get into, right? I definitely say go for it, but go for it in one of these SCX24s. They have the Broncos, they have the Jeeps. I think they have a Deadbolt. They got a couple other versions of this size vehicle. And if you go out on Facebook, you'll find that there are entire groups dedicated to modifying these vehicles and making them even more capable and adding more scale details to them. But straight out of the box, which these two are, they're incredibly fun. And the price point is easy to attain. These are not something you're like, wow, these are just too expensive, I'll never get into. And for me also, the fact that you can just drive it around the house and basically turn your entire area around your house into a crawling park by just simply looking at what's out there, say, oh, I got a cool landscape area that I can climb, or I got some flowers and bushes I need to navigate around, or I just want to drive through the yard. It's also small enough, you can take one of these on vacation with you, you can take it camping with you. If you're gonna go for a walk in the trails, you can just grab it, take it with you, and plop it down on the trail, and it will walk right along, with you. It moves at walking speed. So huge amount of versatility. They're small and easy to store. They look great on a shelf as well. You could put these things on a bookshelf somewhere. They look very cool. And the other cool thing I noticed too is that because they're so slow, I have no trouble handing one of my nephews one of these. Some of the smaller kids, they have no trouble driving this thing around because it doesn't go terribly fast. You don't need a fast reaction time to kind of navigate this vehicle and avoid crashing it. I mean, like I said, it's walking pace. You can go super slow with it. So it's a huge amount of capability and versatility with something of this size. You can have kids drive it. You can drive it. You can really work on your crawling skills. You could turn your entire house into a crawling park just by looking at what's around. It gives you something to do on rainy days. It gives you something to do on sunny days. It has just a ton of versatility. And unlike my airplanes, I don't have to check the weather forecast to go out and have fun with these things. If it's a rainy day, I can drive it around in the house. And if it's a beautiful day, I can go outside. I don't have to check what the winds are doing or anything. So it's a totally different experience for me coming out of aircraft into these little crawlers that you don't have to be paying so close attention to the weather for a change. I can just toss the battery in and go use it. So if you guys got any questions at all on these SCX24, especially on the Broncos, by all means, just leave them in your comments below here. But definitely get 2 thumbs up. From these things from Axial. I'm totally blown away by how much fun you can have with something so small and realistically so slow that these things can be this much fun. And I am having an absolute blast driving it, and I'm having a lot of fun also handing other people the remotes too and saying go out and drive it. Go tell me what you think. Go out and experiment with it. So I've been mostly driving the blue one. So it's got a few scratches and stuff on it as it's rolled around the rocks. I haven't driven the red one nearly as much yet, mostly because the red paint is so beautiful. I don't want to put a mark on it. Where the blue one, I'm okay if it tumbles over down the rocks, which they will do. So you just kind of get used to that. But they look great. They're so much fun. They're at an affordable price point. And if you're thinking about getting into crawling, this is really, I think, the perfect way to get into it. And also, I think it's a perfect, really lifestyle accessory if you are into the outdoors, if you're into camping and things like that. You can easily toss one of these things in there and go have fun with it. So, like I said, if you guys got any questions on these Axial SCX24s, by all means, just leave them in your comments below. And thanks for watching. And now enjoy some video that I shot around the house of driving the blue Bronco, just around things I find.